Welcome, gentle viewer. Recently, apprentice Jonathan related his interest in a military career which, not surprisingly, resulted in an extended conversation. Unlike the other high schoolers who were taking advantage of the service as a means to an end, that is, furthering their formal education, apprentice Jonathan sees the military as an end in itself. We expressly stated in Apprentice Braden's enlistment speech that any name could be substituted for the name Braden, as all those who enlist have similar virtues. An implication of our speech was that Apprentice Braden was the inspiration for our efforts, so Apprentice Jonathan is the motivation for this video, and like the speech, the intended audience is not confined to an individual. The majority of people can be successful at a job, a task, mechanically, without much thought or initiative. There is no need to know the why or reasons of a particular job. This is true in part because most jobs and most careers are not leadership positions, and as a result there is little accountability when one views the entirety of an organization. We suggest that the capitalistic job market naturally mirrors humanity. Few jobs are leadership positions, since most people are followers. Therefore, to know the reasons why a job is to be done is a role of minority, and the skills to explain the why and the ability to defend the why are perhaps left to 1 in 1,000 or 2 in 10,000. A liberal education cannot be appreciated by everyone. A liberal education is not designed for everyone, but a select minority who can take advantage of the opportunities that a liberal education allows. As the Master said, don't throw pearls to swine. That is, don't give values, such as time and effort, to those who cannot appreciate what is being offered. So we must ask, why does Apprentice Jonathan need a formal liberal education? In our enlistment speech, we said there will always be individuals who seek to destroy our republic, and we need guardians to defend our way of life. Not all attacks against our country will be in the form of military actions. Most attacks will be verbal, and will be typically presented by the opinion that our country is not fundamentally different than any other countries. And as far as externals are concerned, we agree. Congress and parliaments, prime ministers and presidents, modern democracies and modern republics are for the most part interchangeable, and changing the names will have little effect upon citizens. However, these are externals only, and are not fundamental. Apprentice Jonathan must know not only why we are different from every other country, but must be able to successfully defend this position in conversations. He must be able to respond to all accusations that our country is worse, and its citizens are worse off, than we would be under socialism, or communism, or a theocracy. We state the obvious. Any system designed and operated by people will be imperfect. However, certain individuals have an ideal based upon objective reality, and although that ideal cannot be realized, that goal should be pursued. Apprentice Jonathan must know that our rights do not have their origin in the majority, in the feeling that these rights are rights. Our founding fathers did not reach a consensus in a meeting by the raising of hands. He must know that property rights, the right to free association, the right to bear arms, the pursuit of happiness, are not nice-sounding ideas randomly thrown together to create a Frankenstein monster that is the basis of our government. Apprentice Jonathan must know that if we lived in nature, personal property as such would not exist, as there would be no need to say this is mine, this is yours. But once people move into a community, into a city, personal property comes into existence, much to the consternation of Plato and Karl Marx. As a result, Apprentice Jonathan must know that individuals can defend their personal property, initially with force, and now with guns, and maybe with lasers in the future. The Founding Fathers intentionally worded the Second Amendment vaguely, the right to bear arms, because they knew they could not foresee all the possible future threats to the country. Apprentice Jonathan must know that our legal system is based on objective law. It is available to all people at all times. Whereas a famous European jurist can honestly say that he cannot imagine an illegal law, since the European tradition is that the state is the beginning of the law, the state can pass any law. There is no higher authority than the state. However, the American legal tradition is rooted in natural law and natural right. So in America, we can have laws that eventually may be declared illegal. We as Americans can imagine an illegal law. Why? Not because many possible laws would be reasonable and welcomed by the majority, but because these potential laws are against our legal tradition, which is ultimately based on natural law. Apprentice Jonathan must know the reasons, the deductions, and the implications of both natural law and natural right. Natural law and natural right are available to all people at all times, but only a select few will be able to fully appreciate why our government is unique, why it is fundamentally different, and fewer still are those who will be motivated to defend it. Unlike those individuals who wish to dictate behavior to others, who falsely believe that their personal happiness can be achieved by unthinking actions from subordinates that conform to wishes, Apprentice Jonathan must realize that the motivation to become a true leader is not external to one's being, to one's experiences. We have no doubt that Apprentice Jonathan will be able to appreciate a formal liberal education and understand the implications of natural law as it pertains to our Constitution and government. At times I have discussed general aspects of natural law with the high schoolers, of course not by that unexciting name, lest I lose their attention. However, we foresee conflicts, for Apprentice Jonathan will realize, through the fullness of time, that most people who wish to fundamentally change our government are not anarchists, are not evil, but they have uninformed opinions regarding what our government should be, rather than the intended purpose, the historical purpose, of our government. Apprentice Jonathan will be then forced to confront not an isolated single evil, but manifold willful ignorance and indifference, not externally, but internally from fellow citizens. He will, perhaps in a moment, in the twinkling of an eye, realize that the ancient philosophers were correct, that the majority are incapable of ruling our country. Apprentice Jonathan may conclude that the best interests of the country and its citizens as a whole are best served by those few who are not only capable and aware, but are also motivated to maintain our country. Apprentice Jonathan's personal experiences and his formal liberal education will challenge his assumptions. We realize this will be difficult, but as Plato noted, nothing great is easy. In conclusion, unlike the sorting hat at a certain well-known academy, we are reluctant to definitely declare what career anyone should pursue, and Apprentice Jonathan is no exception. We only suggest that he actively avoid the always challenging, sometimes rewarding, and never exciting path of practical philosopher.